Hey y'all, Garrison's Edge here. I'm going to go through some of team building and what that might look like for the draft, especially now that the draft is over. We've got official team pools, and we can see what we've got cooking for us. So I'm going to throw Jonah under the bus here a little bit and plan to fight his team a little bit. We're in different conferences, so this matchup won't happen for quite some time. We're going to go ahead and paste that here. And then you can see my draft pool over here that I've got. And so this is like the enemy team. This will be the one that I would reserve for when we're in battle. I take note of my team and their moves, and then as I see Jonah's Pokemon come through, like I'll jot his ones down here. I'll jot their moves down. Like if this one's Porygon 2, I might put here. I might put P2, and then I know that it has Trick Room, so I'll put Trick Room here, stuff like that. So this is more of notes for in battle. But I'm looking at this whole thing here, and I'm seeing which Pokemon he has that most threatens the Pokemon that I have over here, and what Pokemon that I have that threatens most the Pokemon that he has over there. So what I'm really seeing here is that Ursaluna Blood Moon is a massive, massive threat. It's got a massive the special attack stat, good bulk, and it can be used flexibly either in Tailwind or Trick Room, so it's an incredible pick. So I really want something to deal with the Blood Moon Ursaluna. And then paired with Porygon 2, my assumption is that it's going to be going Trick Room. I don't really see a Tailwind setter over here. On top of that, like Hydrapple and Reuniclus are really good in Trick Room. Same with Armarouge is pretty decent in Trick Room. I mean, he has fast options. So we're going to look more to lean into the Trick Room aspect of things. So on this side, Ursaluna. So let's go ahead and look up Ursaluna since we're talking about both Ursalunas. So we've got down here their stat spread. So this is the Ursaluna that I drafted, the normal one. It's speed 50, and this one's speed 52. So I'm slightly slower, which means that I would always be faster in Trick Room if I went the minimum possible speed. So what I can do is I can bring in Didi and Ursaluna to make sure that I get my Trick Room. So here's my pool here. This is where I'd make the notes on what I'm planning to do, and then down here I haven't made it quite yet. But so let's go ahead and go to Team Builder Showdown. These are the teams for the mock battle that we'll be using. So let's go and add in Didi female like we were doing, and Ursaluna. Okay. Okay, and we're gonna go back to Ursaluna here. So Ursaluna Blood Moon has a really scary ability called Mind's Eye. Pokemon ignores opponent's evasiveness, accuracy cannot be lowered, and can hit normal and fighting type can hit ghost types with normal and fighting type moves. So basically, Ursaluna says once I pick a target, I'm going to hit that target, unless you have a form of redirection, which Indeedee does in the move called Follow Me. So that's always a pretty safe option for one. And then I want to get Trick Room up. And I might also want to keep Indeedee safe, so we'll go Protect. And then we do want some offensive pressure just in case we get taunted or anything like that, which means that we could only pick damaging moves if we were to get taunted. For the ability, I love Wow, I cannot speak English. Blocking priority. There we go. With Psychic Surge, Psychic Terrain will block all priority moves for any Pokemon that's touching the ground. And as well, give a boost to our Psychic type moves if we choose to bring any other Psychic types. So, and then within DD, there's a couple different items that we could bring. We'll talk about those later. Let's go ahead and pull up a damage calculator. So let's go Showdown, damage calculator. So we're over here. I want Indeedee F. We're gonna go blank set, and then Ursaluna Blood Moon blank set. Okay, I'm always gonna assume that the opponent's gonna hit as hard as possible. So we'll go ahead and go there, and I'm gonna put max HP into my Indeedee as always. We're both level 50 for Regulation H. So let's go ahead, and the move I'm most worried about is Blood Moon. So as you can see with our max HP investment, we never get one shot by Blood Moon, which is awesome. So we'll go ahead and keep that max HP investment then. So we'll go max HP investment. And then we could still theoretically get one shot by it if it were holding choice specs. So let's go choice specs. which is an item that would lock it into the first move that it would select. Earthling Bloom typically doesn't run choice specs, more often than not runs Life Orb, if I'm not mistaken. We can check that. If we go to Peakalytics, this is, so up here, Regulation H, and then we look at Ursuline Blood Moon. We can see here the most common items that it runs are these three: the Assault Vest, the Life Orb, and the Focus Sash. So you could catch your opponent off guard if you do the choice specs, and since this is blind, I'm totally just gonna see if we can plan for that. So as you can see, the addition of the one item has made it always a guaranteed one shot. So we're gonna come over here to our special defense, and we're gonna start raising it and see if we can get it to never be a one shot. Let's go ahead and max invest and see if that. So then it's a roll to KO. So maybe we want to put max investment on our special defense, and then we want a special defense boosting nature. So like that. And that turns it back into never one shot. But then we sacrifice our physical defense for any physical threats that J-Laser may have on his team. So let's go back to our Draft League notes. He has a couple physical attackers like Azumarill, Beartick, maybe Hisui Gudra because of body press. But you can see here, like, so Beartick, we can look at Beartick. Azumarill, I know, usually runs the move called Belly Drum, which means that if they are physically attacking, they like to take one turn to get online. So let's go ahead and look at Beartick and see. No, not Beartick. We're going to go Gen 9, Scarlet Violet. Good, so let's see here. Its abilities are Swift Swim. I didn't know that it got that. Slush Rush and Snow Cloak. So these two are only utilized when the snow is up, and this one is only utilized when the rain is up. We're going to go back to J-Laser's team here. Ooh, over here. And there's not a whole lot of Pokemon that can set up the rain here. I mean, there's some. I think Azumarill could do it, and maybe Gudra or... I don't know if Meowstic can. Let's actually look that up. No, I need... My goodness. My autofill is not working today. So we're going to Rain Dance. It can learn Rain Dance. And since Meowstic has an ability called Prankster, that means that we do have to keep an eye out for Rain Dance. Does it learn Snowscape? It does not learn Snowscape. Okay, so we mostly have to look out for the rain, which would benefit Azumarill and Beartick, and it would also help with fire-type moves, which, I mean, Hydrapple would appreciate if it ever Terra Grasses, but since it's a Dragon type, it also resists fire-type moves, so it would take neutral damage. Mareep would also like the rain to hit Thunders. That would be funny. So, yeah, there's, and then there's a good couple options there for weather control or other stuff like that, so I do want to be wary of that. The big thing that I'm looking at here is Beartick has Swift Swim and I have Politoed, which has the ability Drizzle, which sets the rain immediately upon entering the battlefield, so Beartick would immediately be faster. And then I could also end up using that against him if I were to set Trick Room. So maybe what I do is Carbink can also learn the move Trick Room. I don't know if you watched our mock battles, but I loved having the double Trick Room tech. So we're just going to max out both of our defensive stats here. And then we're going to have Body Press for an offensive option. Guard Split makes it a lot harder to take down some of our beefy boys. And then we want that Trick Room and Protect. Okay. And then Terra, I am scared of ground type moves. I'm scared of water type moves from Azumarill going into it. And I'm scared of grass type moves from Hydrapple. So what I'm kind of thinking here is I go Terra Grass here, and then DD. Let's see here. Are there really any moves that threaten DD on the other team right now? Nothing is looking hugely threatening. So we'll go back to Indeedee Stereotype later. I only have 5 minutes left until my video cap is up, but this is kind of like what I'm thinking. So I want that double Trick Room set with my supporters. Ursaluna runs a pretty standard set, usually like Flame Orb. If you wanted to do some cheeky stuff, like give the ability to clear body to Ursaluna, you could run the move skill swap here, and then a different ability and a different item so that you don't burn yourself. And then you have an Ursaluna who can't have its stats lowered, which is pretty nice. And then there's usually a pretty standard set for Ursaluna too, where it runs like Facade and Earthquake and Headlong Rush and Protect. You can also look at normal Ursaluna up here and see what it likes to run. So you can see Facade, Headlong Rush, Protect, Earthquake. Sometimes they run Swords Dance like the one in our mock battle did. But yeah, and then bulky. Sometimes Smogon has some good recommendations here. That's the one I like. So we'll go ahead and move forward with that. Right now we're looking pretty vulnerable to water type moves. So what we can do is we can bring either Superior or Decidueye. Decidueye tends to work better in Trick Room, so let's go ahead and bring him. You can also learn the move called Tailwind, which means that we have options. Let's go ahead and give him a good physical grass type move, and then another stab fighting move, which would be Triple Arrows, which is his signature move. Really strong move. It should be changed, and it says here that it recommends special defensive. I want to hit freaking hard, so we're gonna go here. And then I do want to raise my special defense a bit. I'll change the nature later and do all that good stuff. So we're looking a little less vulnerable to our grass type moves from Gudra or anything like that. Something that I do think is important is we have something to threaten Ursaluna. If it terrestrializes to Ghost, which a lot of them do to avoid fighting type moves or Fake Out, we're kind of cooked. We couldn't get that there. So maybe something that we do is we bite the bullet, we set up Trick Room, we get Politoed in to set up the rain, and that would nerf Beartick speed once Trick Room is up, and then we have the funny button, Blastoise. Blastoise is a massive threat to everyone on this team except for Zoomerl and Hydrapple, I would wager. Yeah. Oh, and Goodra probably too. So we'd want, but this guy hits Goodra for super effective damage, and then these two can handle, and this one can handle Hydrapple or Zoomerl. Actually, Zoomerl might still be an issue. Anyway, we'll play test and see what kind of goes down. But yeah, so with Blastoise, kind of the set that is funny to run, especially if there's no speed control or anything like that, if nobody sets up Trick Room. Although I'm betting Trick Room goes up here, or it's always going to be a battle to see if Trick Room is up or not. Shell Smash doubles speed, physical attack, and special attack at the cost of lowering your defense by 2, but because of that we can run an item called the White Herb, which will restore any stat drops the first time that you get a stat drop. The move Water Spout is a really funny move. It is like Eruption. Water type Eruption. It does insane amounts of damage, more damage if you are at full health, less damage the more health you lose. And it hits both targets. And then I'm looking over here. I could run another water type move, or I could run a surprise ice type move, which I'm leaning towards. Let's go Ice Beam, and then I like having Protect. Blastoise also learns some useful supporting moves like Rapid Spin or Fake Out. I could run those and run a beefier Blastoise. Since we are running stuff in the rain, I'm going to do that. And I'm actually going to give a little bit of speed investment, just in case something goes awry and we don't have Trick Room up. So we're going to give special attack here, and then we're going to minus physical attack because that's the stat we're not using. Politoed, I love having nice and bulky. Oh, I didn't choose a regulation here, so I didn't choose Reg H here. So all my Pokemon are level 100 instead of level 50. It'll auto-fix that when you go to battle, but it's just a lot easier to see the stats that you're working with when you're level 50. So like you can see, like I've got insane amount of stats here, but like once I go level 50, then you can see what level I'll actually, like how hard I'll actually hit. And with Politoed, we can kind of play with his set a bit. We could activate another funny button with Perish Song, which will kill every Pokemon on the field in 3 turns unless they switch out. It's great for when you're down to end games where your Pokemon where you can switch but your opponent can't. But yeah, and so like we could run different moves that would take advantage of our weather, Helping Hand to boost our friends, and then Protect. So this is more of a support Politoed, so we can take that specially defensive Smogon set. But yeah, that's kind of like the mindset that I've got when I am team building against another player. So if you have any questions, let me know, and play around and have fun experimenting on the ladder. See y'all later.